Welcome back to another episode of the Social Ledger Report. This is JR.
My name is Leon. We're in person.
Yeah, we are in San Antonio at the Geekdom office. So, man, a lot has been happening in the last few weeks. I don't know if you want to...
Last 24 hours.
Well, definitely on that as well.
I think the interesting part is, we're the United States. This is recorded at 12:33 on Saturday. The United States have attacked Iran with Israel.
Yeah.
I'm watching gold prices. Everybody's got all the screens up, trying to pay attention to what's happening to stocks, to futures, to crypto and everything. So there's a lot. There's Jane Street.
Yeah, Jane Street is probably going to be the biggest talking point today. Yeah. You're going to have to fill me in more on that,
I don't even know. The news is broken.
Yep.
There's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of facts. I don't know what is right and what is wrong on the Jane Street stuff. So we can parse it. But I think it's a little bit of rumor mixed with fact.
I definitely don't think all the facts, I don't think everything is a fact. There's a bit of a mixture of both. Reality isn't as black and white as I like to say. But besides that, we're going to talk about agentic wallets. I think that's more of my forte. It's more algorithmic. It's more autonomous. And beyond that, you're probably just going to get two opinions, mine and Leon's. So with that being said, last night, quick side note, just because I think the state of the market impacted by world events like possibly World War III with the Iran attack. How do you feel about that?
Okay, so prices where we're at right now. Again, it's Saturday. It's 12:36. Bitcoin's up a bit, but it's still down in the net. Ethereum's just, Ethereum has not moved in general for so long. It's been sticking around this price in general. Everything else is, looking relatively strong considering the weakness that has been happening in the bullish. I don't know what the fear and greed's at 14 right now. So
it's pretty fearful.
It's better though. It was at 5 or 4.
Really?
And I think that was the lowest it's been since, I think that 2022 crash after FTX when it was close to an 8. So overall, it's looking positive. It's leaning more alt season, I guess. A little bit, really leaning more towards Bitcoin. I'm just misreading that chart, but
yeah.
I'm not sure. I think these assets are not stores of value anymore. The perpetuals, the ETF inflows, all of that. I think it makes it follow the stock market more than anything.
It's slowly merging into that. And we'll talk more about Jane Street because I think firms like Jane Street are kind of to blame to that because we're seeing ETFs, more of these real world assets that are sort of pegged to Bitcoin, like ETFs or like the one from BlackRock. I think it's called BitIO. I think that's also part of the influence here. But I don't know, man. It's kind of scary because I can see why so many people who have been long devoted or been long-term users on crypto or like Bitcoin, they're starting to pull away their money from that because they're seeing that big money or big corporation money is pouring into crypto. But most of them aren't really putting it into Bitcoin itself. It's mostly on it's mostly on ETFs.
Yeah, but they're still holding Bitcoin. They're holding it in institutional accounts, which I think is still good, but it's a totally different system than we're used to. It's broken. Perhaps. What Bitcoin is in its core, and I think all this institutional money is flowing in, and a lot of people are questioning why isn't the prices going up.
Yeah, that could be one reason. I'm not an expert on this as far as where the institutional money goes, but it's definitely interesting to see how this unfolds. But with that being said, why don't we talk about Jane Street? I know you were kind of hyping it up all of the week outside of the podcast.
Yeah, I think it's been the biggest news in crypto for the week. And I think it's also something I've heard this a couple times is that somebody is manipulating the price of crypto. One, to possibly hurt the president and his family, but then also two, to make some serious money. So let's go to the start. Jane Street is a proprietary trading firm founded in 2000. a lot of former tech people. So it's there. They have one of the largest liquidity providers of ETFs in the world. They trade equities, bonds, options, commodities, crypto, everything. I think they have about 2,500 to 30,000 employees, offices, the normal places where you think NYC, London, Singapore, Hong Kong, Amsterdam.
Big financial
the hubs. Yes. If you want to give it one line, it's like Jane Street isn't a hedge fund in a traditional sense. It's a technology-driven trading firm focused on liquidity and pricing efficiencies.
Yep.
I believe Jane Street was the one who was playing the Japanese market when they would do micro trades and make pennies on the dollar hyper fast. That was Jane Street.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were playing with the Japanese currency because of the interest rates in the currency system over there. So the Fed sets the rates here, they set the rates over there, all of that. The quantitative, they're quants, they do all of that. It's math heavy, probability driven.
Yep.
And that's really where it comes into the crypto involvement. They were early liquidity providers in crypto markets. They pulled back after regulatory uncertainty, really under the Biden admin. And then they've looked at everything because they are really about disciplined risk management and less about following these hype cycles.
Okay. I believe it. So I did pull out here on Riverside. We're not only recording from these cameras, but also on Riverside. I pulled out this article from The Fortune, and it says, Bitcoin fans launch on ridiculous. What's up?
The Fortune.
The Fortune. Is it just Fortune? How do you start the conversation? Just Fortune?
I'm not sure. I just like it. The Fortune.
Well, we're going to go with that. So this article from Fortune says, Bitcoin fans latch onto ridiculous Jane Street conspiracy to explain price slump. So
the crazies have been right on a lot of stuff recently. And I keep saying this. The crazies have been right. So we got to listen to them.
I agree. I mean, that's kind of how Bitcoin began in just a Hacker News forum.
Yeah, but I mean, in everything, conspiracy theories all the way down to Epstein and people there's just so many crazy theories that I believe the crazies are on to something more and more.
God, that reminds me. Have you seen Alex Jones? Not trying to get political, but you've seen Alex Jones before?
Yeah.
So
I hate him.
Oh my gosh, dude! Have you don't like Star Wars, but for anyone else who's seen Star Wars, that guy perfectly encaptures or perfectly summarizes the rise of the empire, the Galactic Empire, where he basically it's a 3-movie story, and he pretty much summarizes in 2 minutes. I almost want to pull up the video. You know what? Let me do it
I hate Star Wars too. I'm gonna get shit for that.
Boo! So I'm gonna share this. I think I should be able to.
Let me just briefly explain Revenge of the Sith plot line, because at the time we wrote articles about it because the media said we don't understand this. This makes no sense. The most popular of the 3 prequels. It made total sense. Emperor Palpatine was a little-known senator from Naboo, small planet. He finances terrorists to attack the planet. And then he plays victim and says that the pacifist republic isn't doing enough to help him with the terrorist invasion, the Trade Federation invasion, who even speak in Chinese accents. It's all geopolitical. And so, little aliens with Chinese accents. He then goes and complains and catapults himself in the crisis into the role of chancellor. Because, he was the victim, but now he demanded something be done. He'd been a pacifist previously. Now he's chancellor. Episode 2, launches terror attacks all over the galaxy with groups he's secretly financing through his backers in the Trade Federation. He turns around, double crosses in the end. Lord Vader, kill Viceroy Gunray and everyone else in the... So basically, in the end, they knock out all of the people that backed him, which always happens. Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, now it's China. Learn from history. Then in episode... so he uses that to build up the power of the empire in episode 2. And now he's got this big Imperial army, but it's not Imperial yet. But it's the stormtroopers, the outfits, the weapon systems to counter this outside threat run by Count Dooku, the Osama bin Laden guy that actually works for him, and they meet in secret. Now, in episode 3, he launches an attack on the...
It's almost done, but what that tells me is you need to watch the movies because it's amazing.
I cannot watch the movies. I've tried. It's just they're too slow.
Well, we can agree to disagree. And that's fine.
I still really, where were we going with this?
The point is Alex Jones is fucking crazy, and he was able to perfectly describe how the prequel movies were for, well, I say prequel, but like the first 3 movies were for, that positioned the entire Star Wars as we know it. He's crazy, and he has a lot of bad takes, but also a lot of very intuitive takes. And I think it applies with Jane Street because... people have all these conspiracy theories about Jane Street and with Bitcoin.
Okay.
This was,
Sorry, I wasn't getting the relational, like, where it's going. Okay, so let's back to Jane Street.
Yes. So anyways, that was a bit of a detour, but it reminded me of that when, you have lunatics making predictions.
Yes.
So with back to Jane Street, the theory spawned a series of viral posts in the fever swamps of social media and gained further traction when Bitcoin staged a midweek rally. You guys can read that. I'm sure you can see it on the screen. But essentially, it's saying I read this article before I even got here, and it's kind of we'll add this in the footnotes as well, but everyone has different takes. Everyone is saying...
What is the take? Can you break down what was happening?
In general?
Yeah.
Like Fortune?
No. Break down what Jane Street was doing. That's I think for context on everybody.
Yeah. So, they were kind of just manipulating the price of Bitcoin, essentially.
Okay, so let me give the breakdown fully.
Sure.
They were saying that there was a 10 a.m. dump every day. That at 10 a.m. U.S. time, which is essentially EST, that there was a dump of it. The social media theories link the institutional trader Jane Street pushing short selling pressure.
Yeah.
But there was no formal proof of that in the end. And what it looked like more than anything was a liquidity and flow effects for institutional order influxes.
Yeah.
This is it might be that rather than targeted manipulation, but to the crazies and the Alex Jones thing is that there was a lot of chatter in daily price pattern in Bitcoin. And 10 a.m. was always happening where there was dump. And there was this is a correlation isn't causation thing where market, algorithmic traders are essentially manipulating without clear evidence or there's manipulation without clear evidence.
Yes. I was trying to say that, but you describe it much better than I could have.
They were relationally tied to the Terra Luna collapse in 2022. So there has been complaints and claims that Jane Street was receiving non-public information related to Terra and liquidity changes. And then Jane Street obviously denies any wrongdoing. Everything is allegations here. It's all fucking rumor in the end. No verified findings, but everybody is on the headlines now. Jane Street has been, essentially manipulating Terra Luna. There's no legal claim to that in there. And then the same thing is the 10 a.m. dump, which was happening on Bitcoin. And ever since that news hit the market, there has been no 10 a.m. dump. And the Bitcoin price, largely minus the Iranian attacks Friday night into Saturday morning, there hasn't been any dips or moves on that liquidity.
Okay. Damn. I did not know that. I do apologize. I'm not very well versed on this. I do understand from a high level what's happened. I know the involvement with Terra Luna, which, man, CoffeeZilla made an incredible video about that too. But you can find it on your own. But man, largely it's kind of just insider trading to some capacity.
Well, for Terra Luna and that stuff, yes, that was insider trading.
Yeah.
For Bitcoin, it's market manipulation.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's they're also tied to MicroStrategy, strategy, and then a lot of those things. So they're essentially pulling shorts, dumping money capitalizing on those, and then made supposedly like $10 billion in the course of that.
Only 10 billion.
Yeah, and essentially this is like the link is Jane Street was secretly dumping crypto, and then it being a big liquidity provider.
Yep.
That the pricing pattern kept showing up. And the rumor is the manipulation have done, a lot of harm to Bitcoin and in the larger part, the crypto market. So was it really a manipulation? Like, is that against, this is the part that I don't know. Is that like against the SEC if they're the ones manipulating the price of something? Like, I don't know if that's, even allowed. Like, can you go short and then dump yourself? Like, I'm not sure if that's allowed if you're the largest. I guess that would be insider trading.
Well, when you're a big fish and you have insider knowledge or just an advantage with knowledge that other people don't, that is largely unfair, which is where the SEC comes in and says, hey, you're breaking the law.
Yes. And that's what is essentially, there's rumors, and I don't know if it's substantiated, that the FBI, the SEC is all looking into it now.
I mean, it's only a matter of time if they already aren't.
Yeah, and
there's nothing clear.
Yeah, and then there's court filings on Terra Luna.
There are.
Or Terraform and Luna and all that, which is there. But there's no actual facts on Bitcoin price manipulation or algorithmic dumping. But I kind of lean a little bit towards the crazies here. It just looks like it. There's so
Alex
many,
Jones maybe.
Yeah, there's so many little things out there. It's just crazy. But the SEC, the CFTC,
yep.
They haven't done it, but they're going to investigate, is my understanding.
I'm not surprised. Usually when what I've seen in crypto largely with the Biden administration is once an agency gets involved, the rest kind of follow suit when there's a legitimate case.
Yes.
We didn't see that with MetaMask or Coinbase. Coinbase, it was mostly the SEC, and the same with MetaMask. Why? Because they weren't really breaking the law. They were just operating business. And then the Biden regime came out and said, no, we don't like you guys doing business this way. But it was no more than the SEC's involvement. So that's largely what's happening here. But anyways, I think something that we can start looking into is autonomous money management. Largely what we're doing here at MintLocke with this new, approach that we're building a business on. And I think, in the middle of people like Jane Street, with largely people moving other people's money, I think given where we are with AI, we're now starting to put ourselves in a position where maybe people can control these agents or program these agents to move people's clients' money, So all that to say, let's talk about Agentic Wallets.
Okay, let's do it. I think it's really interesting, especially when you talk about Jane Street and the fact that a lot of the stuff is going to be moved to computerized systems. Like,
yes,
I could see it at some point becoming a problem for all of us, just here. But I think if you can move money in a fast and efficient way, it's just like the fact back in the day, traders, when the internet first kind of came, they would all try to put their servers and everything in their offices as close to Wall Street so that the internet latency was the lowest. It's no different than like a gamer sitting next to the server farm so they could play Fortnite faster.
It's
the same thing. And it's gotten smarter and smarter. Now it's like agents are trading faster and faster.
Yes.
I think there's probably going to be some sort of regulatory impact at some point that's going to say, hey, these robots can only trade with human input or something. But Coinbase rolled out an agentic wallet. There's a lot of that.
There's also OpenClaw.
Yeah, like OpenClaw is doing a lot. I don't know if I trust it to trade real money, though. I could see it just fucking nuking your portfolio.
Oh, God.
Because it doesn't do things.
Like that one time someone programmed their OpenClaw agent to, I don't know, get access to some API, and then he woke up with a $3,000 API bill.
Yeah, it's just like the Facebook safety lady. She was at Facebook or at Meta, and she gave OpenClaw access to her email, and then it just fucking deleted everything. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Twitter has been a master of all of this stuff.
Man, it's sometimes really hard to keep up with all that kind of
Oh,
noise.
I'm like I have you remember TweetDeck, whatever they call it now, where you can have 3 feeds, 5 feeds, 6 feeds.
Yeah.
Like this is my journalism background. I can watch 6 feeds at once and know what's going on. Like I love the four screens on a TV where you can watch the sports and you can watch a TV show, the news, and you can do all that. That is me 1,000%.
Bro, that sounds like ADHD overload, man.
No, like you just process all of it. But
okay,
talking about agentic wallets, you want to show like the Coinbase stuff?
Before I do that, actually, I want to talk a little bit about AI with OpenClaw.
Okay,
I'm going to share here this Reddit post that I found. The most downloaded skill on OpenClaw Marketplace was
most downloaded what?
The most downloaded skill on OpenClaw.
Okay.
Yeah, so on OpenClaw, you can download skills on this kind of marketplace. The first one was the number one most downloaded was malware. It stole your SSH keys, your crypto wallets, your browser cookies, and opened reverse shell to attack servers over.
And a lot of people were giving fucking
everything.
Like admin, like God mode access to their computers. Like this is crazy.
Pete Steinberg, the creator of OpenClaw, has said, please don't enable.
Well, he's also at OpenAI, so I don't trust him.
That's fair. I respect the guy, but also just because I still think he's the first $1 billion person company. If he had probably honed down on
I've seen that rumor. I think, Sam Altman's kind of slimy and they did like Claude is fumbling the ball. Claude is no longer, the Department of War. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's wrong. Not giving it surveillance. Maybe not letting Claude, run missiles autonomously is probably a good idea based on what happened with Maltbook.
Dude,
but
I'm gonna double down on Claude after seeing that. But anyways,
I'm a different take. I think that it's I think it's good and bad, and I think overall Claude does have a view of a little bit more left-leaning ideology, and I think. A lot of stuff is swinging to the right, and they could be on the wrong side in the end of what's happening.
Only history will tell.
Yeah, like we don't know. We'll see. 10 years, 20 years from now. Just like
absolutely
a great old Bush,
Yeah, that guy was crazy. But anyways, going back to Agentic Wallets. So unfortunately, the number one most downloaded skill according to this thread was malware, which kind of gave you control to manage your crypto wallets and everything. And we'll leave this in the footnotes as well. But the reason why I bring this up is because we're starting to see a trend where Phantom Wallet, Coinbase, I'm sure MetaMask will be next, but not anything as I have known yet. They are starting to allow MCP controllers or connectivity to OpenClaw.
Yeah.
Why?
And they're doing it via command line, right? Which I thought was really
CLI.
Really clever.
But do you know why?
No.
Well, we all can guess. But the reason is, well, if I were to take a guess, is people just don't want to manage their money. They want other things or other people to manage it. Why do you think 401ks, with your employer, they have some sort of contract with a firm like what's it called?
UBS.
UBS, thank you. Like UBS, they will manage your portfolio, your 401k for you.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're not experts.
It's mutual funds and all of that. It's like why everyone buys QQQ or SPY versus, like most people, if you buy an indexy like the Fortune 500, they're better off than going and buying NVIDIA. Even though NVIDIA has been a great one, most people don't know when to sell it. Just like PayPal, I bet you people have held PayPal from the start, not realizing PayPal's on a death spiral. Granted, all the rumors of somebody buying them, but I get what your case you're making is. Nobody wants to manage their money, and actually, most Americans don't. They cannot cover a $200 bill, and the people that do so well, and the reason that even I can manage my money well is when a paycheck gets deposited, it gets split up to spending money, to paying credit cards, going to savings, because I don't have to think about it. If I had to think about it, I'd be bad at it.
Yeah, and a lot of us just have so many decisions to make throughout the day. We don't want to spend half of those decisions doing nuanced shit that we can always just automate. So I do want to run this quick video. It's about a minute. And this is kind of how it looks like this is from the Solana subreddit. This is what Solana plus USDC OpenClaw agent payment looks like. So this guy made a bot, and I'm guessing previously it was a some sort of configuration, but now it says, hey, can you send 50 cents to my Soulflare wallet? I use Telegram. You can use Telegram and WhatsApp for these kind of interactions with OpenClaw. So
Yeah,
it's typing. I feel like the UI could be better for this kind of use case. So it says, let me send 50 cents, kind of just agreeing with you. And then it will send, it gives you the transaction fee, the transaction hash and a link for that. And you can kind of just view it on the Solana Explorer, which is the blockchain explorer where you can see where the money moves, unlike traditional finance. So that's largely it. Now, one more thing I will want to share, kind of just to summarize my point. Well, not my point, but like just how everyone is using these, autonomous tools to manage people's money. Coinbase came out, and you can follow this link on the footnotes. Too long didn't read. Agentic wallets are the first wallet infrastructure built specifically for agents. Equip agents with autonomous spending, earning, and trading capabilities in minutes, with built-in security guardrails in the battle-tested X402 protocol, which is largely again used to pay for paywalls autonomously. Like, you don't need to add your credit card or your debit card and then just pay it. You put USDC in your wallet and it automatically gets paid off from that. So this is the future. This is where we're heading.
I think it's a really interesting world of this. I see the problems that could arise where every bot is trading, and like they all have similar knowledge bases that are essentially moving money and flows in their own way. Like, I could see a crash at some point where all the money moves in one direction and it crashes the market. I could also see all the benefits of this. So I think we're going to see a world where you don't have to pay a hedge fund manager to, manage your mutual funds, manage your 401k, your Trump account, all of those things, where more than anything, you can go pick, some different flavors of an AI and essentially put it out there and say, hey, this is how we're running everything.
I mean, Bitcoin was largely created because of the subprime mortgage collapse that happened in 2008.
Yeah.
And after that, I think we're still seeing a lot of similar patterns even in 2026.
And like, I think one thing I want to share this here is the fact that everything can be 24 hours. Like, the big part is...
What do you mean everything can be in 24 hours?
Everything's 24/7, 365.
Oh, on crypto, yes.
Yes, like it's different. Like, tokenized gold prices surged to a high of 4,500 an ounce in the U.S. as the U.S.
Almost 5,500.
Yeah, 5,500.
Yeah,
I don't know what I said.
You're
but good. as the U.S. and Israel struck Iran, essentially those tokenized assets are moving in real time, quickly, all over the world, and there, while these real gold markets are all closed. Like, it is the way of the future, because the market doesn't wait. You see it. Wait. You see it. The reason President Trump has done any action, no matter what, he's playing the market more or less. He does it on a Friday night. The market kind of figure out what's going on. So when it opens at 6 a.m. or whatever on Monday, that there's not a huge crash. Like, if you would have done this on a Wednesday, market would have crashed. It would have hit tripwires. Things would have went crazy. But in the tokenized markets, nobody's stopping anybody. There's no tripwires. There's none of that stuff. There is worry that, if there's no tripwire, the market could liquidate. Mm-hmm. There could be runs on banks. Like, we're going to have to see what happens. But these tokenized assets let real-time thing. I think the same thing as Polymarket lets you bet and get real news faster than what's actually happening. I knew about the Iranian strikes. Granted, we all saw it coming. Like, if you didn't, you were blind.
Straight up Hamas, 20% of
and that's oil. Closed right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. And oil's up 20%.
Really?
Like within the past couple hours. Again, it's about 1 on Saturday.
Oh, God.
But these tokenized assets are what moves faster and shows real time what's happening and where market sentiment is, where regular markets wouldn't do that, where Polymarket is predicting what's going to happen sentiment wise too. So it gives people all over the world insights to what's happening faster and faster. Because imagine like Claude, Anthropic had that fight with the United States government on all that, on safety and everything. Imagine if they're a publicly traded company and they did that at 5 and they said no, the stock would have tanked. If it was tokenized, it would have tanked overnight, or it would have went up, and then you could see the market sentiment. And I think that's really, really powerful. And I also think that's like, especially with AI traders, you can go arbitrage, prices very quickly, make some money in the chaos, and still make sure the market is safe and secure for all of us.
I mean, can you imagine some guy is on the Bahamas on a Saturday morning, and then next day, their fucking company went down 20% or something?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I would have a heart attack if I was that guy. Is what I'm trying to say. But also, for better for worse, I think money moves better when it's a market that's open 24/7. I mean, you can hear Brian Armstrong from Coinbase talk about it all the time. Couldn't agree more with that guy in that area. So, yeah, I think this is the future, which is largely why we're building MintLocke. Quick, shameless plug, but with MintLocke, we're trying to automate people's money. We're starting with crypto and then eventually into real-world assets. You can find us on the Base network and the Arbitrum network as of this month. So that's what we're building. Go ahead and check it out at mintlocke.com. And also, let us know what you think of Social Ledger Report this week. And if you want to be on the podcast, we're happy to bring guests. We want to do live chat. We can do we can do Twitch. We can stream. We've been planning it for a while, but we haven't.
Yeah, we just got to execute on it.
We have to. So, let us know what you think, and we would love to have you. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Cool.